Hi, everybody. And,
Hello, everybody.
And welcome to
Stories with Reginald. Hey, I'm so glad to see you all today.
I'm happy to see you all today, too. And you as well, Reginald.
Thank you.
So, today we're going to be reading my favorite book.
Your favorite book?
My favorite book.
It must be a really old book.
It is not The Institutes of Kelvin.
Well, that would be an old book, but that's not the one you're reading? What are you reading today, Pastor Andy?
Yeah. We're going to read Mike Mulligan and the Steam Shovel.
Oh, that's a great book. I love that one.
Right. It's about moving dirt and going around and digging holes.
Yeah? Hey, Pastor Andy, since we're talking about dirt and moving around and digging holes, can I tell you a joke about dirt?
Sure, but I'm telling you a joke about dirt as well.
Okay. Well, I go first. What do you get when you cross a garden worm and a goat?
A garden worm and a goat. I don't know.
A dirty kid. Get it? A goat's child is a kid. A dirty kid. Okay, that was too much.
So, when I was young, I had a medical condition, and I was told as a child that I needed to eat dirt 3 times a day or I would die.
3 times a day you had to eat dirt?
Yeah, I was really lucky that my older brother told me.
I think that your older brother didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, you're probably right. Got any more?
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's the fiercest flower in the garden?
The fiercest flower in the garden? I don't know.
A tiger lily.
Really? So I have a garden, and there's a mystery going around my house that every night I go and look at morning I look at my garden, and at night someone has put more dirt into my garden.
Oh, more dirt?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. The plot thickens.
You know what? We better read this story because these jokes are getting bad.
They're getting, more worse. Because you hear about the sale down at the soil shop?
The sale down at the soil shop?
Yeah, there's a sale.
Was everything dirt cheap?
Yeah.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah. All right, so Mike Mulligan and the Steam Shovel.
Oh, yeah, that's an old book.
It is. Story and pictures by Virginia Lee Burton. One of my favorites as a little kid. Let's start. Okay. Mike Mulligan, right here if you can read it. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said that she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. But he'd never been quite sure that was true or not.
Wow. Oh, make sure the kids can see the pictures, too.
Right. I'll move up here.
Okay.
So Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through.
Wow, Mary Ann the steam shovel.
Yeah. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut through the high mountains so the trains could go through.
Oh, yeah, I like trains.
It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make the long highways for the automobiles.
Wow.
It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed out the ground and filled in the holes to make the landing fields for airplanes.
Wow, Mary Ann was busy.
She was busy. And it was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug deep holes for cellars of tall skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann used to dig a little faster and a little better. The more people stopped, the faster and the better they dug. Some days, they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away dirt they had dug.
Wow, that's a lot of dirt.
And then along came the new diesel gasoline shovels, or the new electric shovels, and the new diesel motor shovels, and took all the jobs away from the steam shovels.
Oh, no.
Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very, very sad.
Oh, no, they didn't have any work to do.
No. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk. or left out in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least, he thought she could. But he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day, Mike read in a newspaper that a town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We are going to dig that cellar of that town hall," said Mike and Mary Ann, and they started off.
Oh, now they have a job.
Maybe. They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore, and they went away out into the country. They crawled along slowly up and down hills until they came to the little town of Popperville.
Popperville.
Yeah. When they got there, they found out that the selectmen were just deciding who should dig the cellar of the new town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. "I heard," he said, "that you're going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig that cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to do that." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men can dig in a week." Though he had never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Henry B. Swap thought that he would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing. So he smiled in a rather mean way and gave the job to digging of the cellar of the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann.
Oh, so he didn't believe they could do it.
No. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. As soon as the boy came around, "Do you know if you'll finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Sure," said Mike. "If you stay and watch us, we always work faster and better when someone is watching us." So the little boy stayed and watched. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, town constable, came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, you know what they did? They dug a little faster and a little better.
Oh, kind of like when they were in the cities.
Right. This gave the little boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman with his milk cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped and stayed to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. Clang, 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 the fire department arrived.
The fire department, too?
Yeah, well, they had seen the smoke from the steam shovel. Then the little boy said, "Why don't you guys stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. Guess what that did? That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the second corner neat and square, but the sun was right up in the top of the sky. Now, the girl who answered the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville, and Kipperville and Copperville, and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see Mike Mulligan and the steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through, and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner neat and square. Then, never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well, and never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry," shouted the little boy. "There's not much more time." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and the steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen, bing, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. Then suddenly, all was quiet. Slowly the dirt settled down, the smoke and the steam cleared away, and there was the cellar, all finished.
They did it?
Yep.
Wow!
4 corners, neat and square, 4 walls, straight up and down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom. And the sun was just going down behind the hill. Hooray! Shouted the people. Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day.
Wow, they did really well.
But there's a problem.
Uh-oh.
Suddenly the little boy said, "Hey, how are you going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get the steam shovel out?" Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out? Hi, Mike Mulligan. How are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls, 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast, we've dug so well, that I've quite forgotten to leave a way out."
Uh-oh.
Nothing like this has ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do. Nothing like this has ever happened before in Popperville. Everybody started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought that his idea was the best. They talked and they talked and they argued and they fought, and they until they were all wore out, and still no one knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they had dug. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid."
Oh, no.
And he smiled again in a rather mean way.
Yeah, sometimes smiles aren't nice.
Right. Now, the little boy who had been keeping very quiet had another good idea. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her?
Really?
Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. And then you won't have to buy a new furnace, and you could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day."
Wow.
"Now, why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and he smiled in a way that was not so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder, climbed down to the cellar, and asked Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everyone was happy.
Really?
Yeah, they built a new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and it was finished before winter. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes him nice, hot apple pies.
Wow. I like apple pie.
Me too. And as for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall listening to the stories of Mike Mulligan has to tell, and smiling in a way that is not mean at all. Yep. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down to the cellar of the new town hall, and there will be Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair smoking his pipe, Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings at the new town hall. The end.
Oh, that's a great story.
It's a great story about dirt.
Yeah, and it also is a great story about finding a new purpose, Pastor Andy.
Right, a new purpose and working really hard, and how people can help one another just be motivated to do a great job.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it's hard to see what our purpose is.
Right.
And everybody seems to go so fast around us.
So fast. And these, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann got encouraged, and people were rooting for them, and they just did their best.
They did their best. They worked faster, and they worked more happily.
Faster and better.
And better.
Right. So we should just make sure that when we're talking to people, we should encourage them to do their best.
Kind of like how God wants us to do our best.
Right.
That's a good lesson, Pastor Andy.
Yeah, and it's my favorite story when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a nice book. Do you want to show the cover to everybody?
Yeah, I'll show the cover again. Here it is.
Mike Mulligan.
Yep. It's got some wear. It's falling apart a little bit, but it's still got a good story.
Hey, that's a good one. Hey, before we go, I have another joke.
Okay.
What kind of beans grow in the Easter Bunny's garden?
What kind of beans grow in the Easter Bunny's garden?
Jelly beans.
Jelly beans?
Hey, let's sing.
Yes. Ready?
Yeah.
Lord, prepare me
to be a
sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. All right, well, goodbye. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody. Go out and be a blessing.